Hello, you can hear me now. Mic trouble. That should have worked a little bit better. But anyway, hello, welcome back to another live stream. Today's live stream, we are going to talk about our latest signings in Naismith and George Saville. We are going to talk about, I'm sure, about pre-season as that's been announced. As well, another game has been announced. We are playing Tottenham at home. We've still got one more game in our pre-season schedule to be announced, which is an away fixture. Hopefully we'll find out as soon as possible, but I can't imagine it's going to be against a very top side. But anyway, things are starting to be announced. Things are starting to tick over, which is good to see. But we've only made 2 signings. No one's left the football club as of doing this live stream. So I think that's what's going to be happening over the next couple of weeks. I do think we are going to announce a few players leaving the football club, which I hope we are actually. We've had a lot of rumours. I think Thomas Kaminski is the first one that's, I think, going to leave the football club. I think he's definitely the main man that's like the interest from other clubs. A lot of teams want him to come, whether that's championship or overseas clubs. I can see him definitely leaving, but I don't mean, well, if he does leave, I don't think signing a new goalkeeper is definitely needed. But I'm happy with the signings which we've made this week. Naismith, of course, being confirmed, and George Saville being confirmed. I mentioned in the last live stream that I was hinting that we've already made 2 transfers. We just need to confirm it, and that, of course, did come true a couple of days later. But I'm happy that, finally we're getting some announcements. For me, Naismith is championship quality still. I think he could easily do a job at a team like Portsmouth or Oxford in the Championship. So the fact that he's dropped down to League One is a massive help to us. He's leadership, he's experience, he's a ball-playing defender. He can fit multiple different systems. He can play in multiple different positions. So it's a handy player to have. There's a lot of games in League One, especially with that added cup competition between League One and League Two clubs. The Johnson Paint Trophy, which I like to call it, as with the previous winners for it back in 2009. But yeah, we're in that competition, and if you go really far in that competition, that's another 7 to 9 games you've got to play in that competition. Then you're in the earlier rounds in the FA Cup and also in the League Cup. So you start in round 1 of the FA Cup compared to round 3. So if you want to have a cup run, that requires more games. So there's going to be a lot of matches being played, and as someone who likes to make content, that is fantastic. I can make so many videos on it, match reactions, match previews, live streams, 5 things which we learnt from the games, lots of talking points from all these games that happen across the football season. So for me, it's fantastic, but for the players, I'm sure it's going to be a very tough ask, especially if they want to win promotion at the end of it with all these games. So Matt Bloomfield has to use his squad very smartly, and when you've got players like Naismith, George Saville amongst the group, it helps because they can have some leadership on and off the pitch, get through really poor runs of form, and yeah, fingers crossed, at the end of the season it's good. But then with George Saville coming in, he's going to be like a McCormack, Lansbury type of player, someone that, yeah, he is towards the end of his career, but he's still got so much to give. And what he was producing in the Championship was still very good for Millwall, in terms of his tackling, his recoveries. And he was doing that in the Championship. Now, I did see a couple of posts by Millwall fans saying his legs are going, saying that he can't quite cut it anymore. Maybe as a box-to-box midfielder, he can't cut it, but as a defensive midfielder, he can definitely cut it. And George Saville even mentioned in his interview saying that he actually turned down a couple of Championship clubs to sign for us. So for me, we've signed 2 Championship players. If I look at other clubs who have also signed some players so far this summer window, Huddersfield look very good. The signings they've brought in 2 very good League One players and then 2 players from the Championship as well. Of course, there is a massive question mark whether or not Grant, their new manager, can he do it? First job in management. There's so many question marks there. But so far, they're having a good window. So they do worry me a little bit. Bolton as well, they worry me a little bit. They signed a player that Luton were linked with called Richard Taylor, the St Mirren centre-back. He's decided to go to Bolton. Fair enough. We don't... Of course, when it comes to these rumours, we don't actually know officially if Luton were actually interested in the player itself, but it was just reported that Luton were one of the clubs interested in Richard Taylor. He's, of course, decided to go elsewhere. But look, overall, it's going to be still a very long window. Despite the window, I think it's officially being closed right now. I think it reopens again soon. You can still make signings and confirm players coming in and still put fees in for players. You can still talk to players. So yeah, right now we can still do everything we need to do. And yeah, fingers crossed we get even more players through the door. But I can definitely see next week, starting from tomorrow, some players leaving the football club. Now I haven't been told anything. I don't know 100% if anyone's going. I know some of our players have had interest, but I do think next week I'll be very surprised if we haven't announced a player leaving the football club. Let me just put it at that. I do think it's time to get rid of some players now. Pre-season, as we all know, starts, I think they said towards the end of this month. So I can imagine that Matt Bloomfield, he would want some players to leave next week, so then he knows roughly what type of players he's got. But he did say in his interview that he's expecting to have some players at the football club that might not be here when the season starts. So yeah, I feel like the better we get players through the door as well, and also let players go, the better it will be. And then, yeah, hopefully, onwards and upwards, have a fantastic season. But let me read some of the comments that you guys have made so far in the live chat. So we've got, I'm so happy we are playing Tottenham at home. It shows how we mean business, unlike last year. Tottenham, I think, as we know, they are going to play a mixed squad. I think they are going to play two different starting 11s. That's what normally Premier League clubs do. One half they'll play one starting 11, and then the second half it'll be a complete rotation, and then they'll play a different team in the second half. That's what I think is going to happen. So the likes of Son, he will be at Tottenham. He will be there at the game, I'm sure, and some of the other first team players like Solanke and so on. It is definitely the first team. When I know there was a lot of people out there going, oh, it's just going to be Tottenham's reserves and their youth players. It can't be. It has to be first team players. This is because when you advertise that you're playing against a certain team, you have to clarify whether it's first team or development squad. And Tottenham have confirmed on their end that the first team will be coming to Luton. So yeah, we will be seeing some members of the first team squad against us at our home game, which is great to see. They do fly to Hong Kong, I think, a couple of days later. So, yeah, that's their main pre-season camp, but they're playing us just before they head off to go overseas. Max, you have put, thank God we've got Cal Naismith back. We've got our leader for next year. We've signed two leaders, because for me, Saville is a leader in the midfield, and Naismith could be the leader at the back. Just need maybe one or... Well, I think we now need some youngsters now. Now we've got a few older heads in the team. Let's get some youngsters through the door. But I can imagine we need to let go of a few players before we do. Hoping Saville will be amazing in our midfield. I think he will be, Danny. Max, you've put... I saw Hemel Hempstead put on their pre-season friendlies like Luton on their list, unless it's the under-21 squad. Max, it has to be the under-21 squad because the season starts when we play Hemel. The actual official League One season starts. So it is the under-21 squad that are playing Hemel Hempstead in the pre-season friendly. 100% Thomas Kaminski is going back to Belgium. Cross fingers that we will pick up no injuries to key players in pre-season. Yes, I am definitely keeping my fingers crossed for that. Saville could be our next McCormack. I do agree with that. I think he will be. Morning, fellow Hatters, and happy Father's Day. Yes, if you are a father in the chat, happy Father's Day. I'm seeing my dad later on today. Need to give him his presents. Matt Bloomfield is keen on Alfie Stain, so I assume this means a change of formation. It might not be, actually. It could be the same formation, but hopefully it is a different formation. Potential opportunities for young players with all these extra cup games, as I've mentioned. Yes, I think especially in that cup competition, I don't know what it's called now. Is it Virtue Trophy they call it, or Bristol? Is it the Bristol Motors Cup competition? It's the Johnson Paint Trophy. That's what I'm referring it to. We all know what it is. It's the cup competition between League One and League Two, and it gives our younger players opportunities at, making a name for themselves. You're looking at the likes of Zach Nelson, Joe Johnson, Jaden Luca, you've got Phillips, you've got Ollie Lynch up top. So yeah, lots of youngsters amongst our squad that have an opportunity at featuring in the first team this season. If they do well in pre-season and also in these extra cup competitions. Get Alan Campbell back. No, thank you. We've had our time with Alan Campbell, and it's clear that he's not the right one for us going forward. Would be great to offload some of our higher earners. Brown, Nakamba, Chong. Highly doubtful though, didn't do anything to make other clubs look at them last season, so we are stuck with them. Not 100%, clubs look at our situation and they might take advantage of it. And what I mean by that is they might go, actually, we know Luton want to get rid of Chong, so why don't we offer them a low fee for him, and Luton might accept it and allow Chong to move on. That could potentially happen with some of our players. Clubs might look at us and go, Luton are trying to offload these, let's offer a low fee and get these players on a really good deal. And Luton might have to accept those really low fees and not get the right fee for some of our players. Max, you've put, please let Tedden Menji go. I do think he will be leaving the football club. Hopefully he does. Burnley are, of course, the team that are interested in him, as one of their centre-halves is leaving the football club to go to France. The window reopens tomorrow. The window's still open. Well, technically the window is open now. The wording of it is just basically they can't officially open the window for a certain amount of days. That's the ruling of it. But it's technically you can make signings now. If we really want to, we can announce a player today, like Wickham have done. Over the last 48 hours, Wickham have announced 2 signings. So you can still announce signings and stuff like that, despite the window officially being closed. You can still make signings. The wording of it is confusing, but you can make signings still. As long as we get our business done early, I'm sure most fans will be happy. Yes, I just want, by the time the season starts, to have the core group of players here at the football club. We've got the right players at the football club as well. And fingers crossed, we just do what we need to do. I still think we need I think we need a left back. 100% we need a left back, in my opinion. I do also believe we need some wide attacking players. That would be good to get some wide attacking players in, and also a striker in. So I'm looking at roughly, right now, especially as well, if players don't leave the football club, 3 to 4 players at least, because we've still got quite a big squad. So we can't be signing even more players because we've still got too many at the football club. So I think another 3 to 4 players will be coming in. Left back, a couple of wide attacking players, hopefully a striker as well. So 3 to 4 players, that'd be good for us to bring in the remaining weeks of the window. Fingers crossed we can do that. I'm sure the club are working really hard to get some deals done. Do I think we're going to spend some money? Yes, but I don't think it'd be as much money as what people expect. Not £5 to £10 million like what Birmingham were doing in League One. But I'm looking forward to seeing what. That was my drink. What we can do in the window. Andrew, you have put, what are your thoughts on Walters, on how Walters fits in, and does he still have the same potential we thought he does 12 months ago? I think what we found out throughout last season is that maybe he isn't quite at championship level yet, and I think that's fair to say. I do feel sorry for him though, because he's had 2 different managers, 2 different styles of play, so that's kind of impacted him. And by the time Matt Bloomfield came in, it was kind of like, right, he wanted to trust the more experienced and senior pros, whereas now we're in League One, there's a fresh start. Of course, Matt Bloomfield will go through what he wants properly in a pre-season camp. I think the likes of Walters will have a much better understanding. And as the level of League One isn't as good as the Championship, I think Walters will stand much better of a chance at claiming a first team spot next season. But he is someone who I still believe he's got plenty of potential. He's still a very young player. Last season was his first season in professional football, and you know what? One season as a pro, smashing it, literally changes how your potential goes and how your future could go. So if he smashes League One apart next year, we then know officially, right, he's too good for League One. We know he's at least Championship level. Let's see what happens there. But you saw the likes of, JJ and Jack Stacey, two young players, and they smashed League One apart, got their Premier League move. Walters can do exactly that. He just needs to, of course, put those performances in. Unlikely we will need Nakamba now. We have Saville, although two holding midfielders might be useful. But then again, you could argue and say Naismith can play as a defensive midfielder. So there's your two defensive midfielders. We've got too many midfielders. That is one thing for sure. We've got, let's count them. We've got Nakamba, we've got Fane, we've got Saville, we've got Walsh, we've got Clark, we've got Asgard, we've got Zach Nelson, we've got Chong, who can technically play as a midfielder, we've got Baptiste. So you've got, 9 players there who can play in midfield. That's a lot of midfielders. And I think I'm forgetting 1 or 2 players as well. So we're going to have to move some players on. And I'm even forgetting the likes of, Tom Holmes, who was out on loan, who could play as a centre-half. I'm forgetting, Woodrow as well, who could play as a striker. So, yeah, we definitely need to try and move some players on. But it's going to be really, really tough. Has Morris gone? If so, do you know where he has gone to? No, Morris has not gone. Nothing official has been announced by the club. When I interviewed Cal Naismith on the Luton website, I said, promise me, can you stay for Luton? And he agreed, and he stayed for Luton for me. Nice. Cal Naismith, of course, he did mention that he wanted to stay, and he's got his wish. And I think Naismith and Saville have both signed a 2-year contract, which is good. I think at their age, it kind of does make sense to only sign a 2-year deal, nothing more than that. But yeah, hopefully we can get some more players in. But yeah, hopefully next week it's going to be a little bit busier. It hopefully will be a lot more busier next week. Obviously, this week we had the announcements of our signings. But apart from that, not much, especially on the rumours aspect, especially with the lack of rumours and bringing players to the club. I don't even think I made a video on any potential players coming through. If I have a quick look now. So, what was the start of the week? So, the 9th. Yeah, so from the 9th, I've only made 3 videos this week. One was about Ted Menji potentially leaving to go to Burnley. That was on Monday. I then did the Cal Naismith video, which was on Tuesday, and then I did the George Saville video, which was on Wednesday. But yeah, nothing really much official coming out. I was going to react to the Tottenham game, but it's pretty pointless reacting to that. We all know that it is a good friendlies against a Premier League team. People wanted Luton to have a more competitive fixture. We're going to play Boreham Wood in pre-season, which is away from home, which Boreham Wood, if you didn't know, have kind of the best non-league, facilities, especially with their surface. And also, we're playing Gillingham away in Kent. They are most likely going to win promotion at the end of next season. That's my prediction because they've got Gareth Ainsworth. How he sets them up really difficult. So that's also another test to Luton in a different type of way. But yeah, and then Tottenham at home. Hopefully the away game which we get is going to be a tough one. I wouldn't mind if it was against a team in Ireland. That'd be really, really good because Ireland actually play their season now. So playing against an Irish side would be really, really good. Who knows? A trip to Ireland would be nice. What are the odds of buying a Premier League player to play with us in League One? Probably very low because a Premier League player won't want to step 2 leagues down. But strange things have happened. Danny, you've forgot players like Holmes and Woodrow are still with us. Very easy to forget, as they would definitely, they didn't play much last year. Saville is a top signing for you guys and good championship midfielder as well. Yes, I 100% agree. The fact that he could have still played in the championship this year just shows you how good the signing is. And yeah, hopefully, he's going to be one of the best midfielders in the championship. He's definitely one of the standout signings of the window. You're not going to get much better than Saville signing for a League One club. Is the Club World Cup a drain on players? I think so, but a nice idea in theory. I hate the Club World Cup. I find it absolutely mental. What I don't get is, so the Club World Cup is meant to be the very best of the best, and now they've completely changed the tournament format, so it's going to be every 4 years rather than every year. The whole idea of the Club World Cup is that it's meant to be you play the very best in South America, the very best in North America, Asia, and so on, in Europe and everything else, and you have a tournament, and it's meant to be the best be the best. And we've now created a 30 team, 24 team tournament format. You can win the Champions League 3 years ago and then compete in this competition and be the best in the world when you're not even the best in the league. I hate the format. I also hate the Champions League format. I've started to hate it even more because the whole point of the Champions League, it's in the name, champions. You can finish 4th in your league and win the Champions League. That doesn't make sense. So for me, when teams win the Champions League, I don't refer to them, they're the best team in the world. No, they're not the best team in the world. They are the 4th best team in their league, and they've managed to win a cup competition. When you expand cup competitions, you actually make the cup competition a little bit easier for teams. And what I mean by this is the route to the final can sometimes be easier because the best teams are spread out a little bit further, and there's more chance that they could drop out of the competition a lot sooner rather than later. This is why England, as a nation, we've done well in the World Cup and in the Euros recently, because the tournament format has increased. There's more teams in it. This is why Southgate got to the final. That's why England had that fantastic run to the final. It's because the tournament format got bigger, and that's why we were able to do it. Where if you compare that to the past, it was a lot difficult. It was the very best v the best. Like, the group stages were so much tough to get out of, whereas now you're pretty much guaranteed to get out of the group stage. Like, the tournaments over the years have just got easier, which is not the correct way to go about it. You should be making things more challenging and more difficult. But I guess with the more money in sport nowadays, it's changed completely. But it does irritate me when people go like, oh yeah, but we did this, we did that. But years ago we couldn't do that. Well, years ago you couldn't do that because the format was completely different. That's why I was very much like, I don't like it when people go, oh, Gareth Southgate did something which no England manager has done. Yeah, but you're missing a lot of context there. He did something that no other England manager has ever done because the tournament format's completely different. That's why he's managed to do it. Nothing to do with his actual ability as a manager, as proof that when we got to the final, tactically, we just didn't do a good job. But anyway, that's a completely different topic overall. Made the mistake last year, but we could use the loan system this season if needed. I'd rather we use the loan system as a last-minute resort. I hope we can just bring the players we want in on a permanent basis and then just rely on loan players towards the latter stages, because Premier League clubs, traditionally, they allow their youngsters to go out on loan once they've got their players through the door first. So they figure that out, and then they go, actually, let's loan you out. And then, and that's more of a last-minute thing. Have you got any interest in the Club World Cup? I will watch it because I do have a DAZN subscription. I have DAZN because of I like watching the boxing on there. So I will watch a few games as there's no football on. I didn't watch the game last night. I think it was on at 1 o'clock in the morning. Today, will I watch any games? I'm not too sure because Soccer Aid starts at 7:45, and I love watching Soccer Aid. Let me know down in the chat. Do any of you guys watch Soccer Aid? I like it. Celebrities, ex-footballers, and so on play against each other. It's quite fun. Raise money for charity. It's a good cause. So yeah, I like watching Soccer Aid, but I don't know if I think that clashes with another game on at the same time. Wait, here we go. So the Club World Cup. Let's have a look who's playing who at the time. Right, Club World Cup. So Al Hilal got a 0-0 draw with Inter Miami. It's Bayern versus Auckland, which pretty much confirms that Bayern are going to win that game. That's on at 5 o'clock UK time, and then it's PSG versus Atletico Madrid, which is on at 8 o'clock, which would be the more interesting one to watch, but that's at the same time where Soccer Aid starts in the UK, so I probably won't be watching that. And then at 11 o'clock at night, you've got Porto versus Palmeiras, the Brazilian side. Yeah. So I probably won't be watching that. What are the games on tomorrow? Is there any better games on tomorrow? There's 3 games on tomorrow. One's at 3 o'clock in the morning, which is Seattle. Chelsea play tomorrow. They're playing against Los Angeles FC, and then Boca Juniors play Benfica on tomorrow as well at 11. So I might watch the Chelsea versus Los Angeles game, but yeah, I probably won't watch the others. And then on Tuesday, is there any better ones on Tuesday? No, Tuesday there's horrific games. You've got Dortmund play on Tuesday. That's on at 5 o'clock. But yeah, nothing really too interesting with that. What do you think of the Huddersfield business so far in the League One window? I think Huddersfield have definitely done well, starting to put their name in the hat for winning promotion, because the 4 signings they've brought into the club have been really good. I did like Ryan Ledson. You've got Harness as well. You've got Lowe, Roland. So that's 4 really good signings. Of course, there's just question marks over the manager. Can he hit the ground running? And also, when you sign really good players in a pre-season, there's loads of question marks on can you hit the ground running? And if you don't start well, are you going to give the manager and the players time to kind of recover and start a good run of form? Because you don't always start well. But yeah, Huddersfield transfer business has been very good. The Club World Cup... Oh, I missed it. The Club World Cup has now become a glorified pre-season friendly. Exactly. I think the Club World Cup has now become basically a pre-season competition. But the problem is, it starts so early. And I feel sorry for the players, and I understand why they're frustrated, because it is too much games. It is too much. Before, it used to be, 3 games, if that? 2 to 3 games. Now, if you win the actual competition, you've got to play, there's 3 games in the group stages, last 16, quarter-final, semi-final, final. So you're looking at an extra 4 games you've now got to play. And that's without all the training sessions. And I know people are going to say, well, they earn so much money, but you're missing the point. You know, our bodies are not, they can't handle so much demand in a year. The body needs rest. It's not, it's high level, and with so much expectation on the line as well, where fans go, I want X, Y, and Z. I want us to do well. I want us to do this. The players just can't do it. It's just not physically possible for them. So yeah, I find it just mental. And the players, if they want to boycott, they should be boycotting FIFA, UEFA competitions. They should not be having a go at the UK and ruining the traditional games which we play. It's not fair, and I hate the fact the FA Cup has changed, because that's not fair on the lower league teams. It's actually so disrespectful to the lower league teams, that what they've done in stopping the replays. It's just totally not fair. And the players, if you're going to moan at UEFA and FIFA, but they won't, because those two corporations are the ones that are paying the big bucks. So that's why they won't moan. And everyone keeps talking about this potential European Super League. It won't. Well, I wish it just happens. So then UK football, English football can just go back to being great again. Because right now I really have such a dislike for it. I'd have a massive dislike for the Premier League. it's just too much money orientated. It should never be about money. It should just be about the actual beauty of the game, and it's just not. An opportunity to try out Pebble in pre-season, see if he has anything to offer. If not, then offload and quick. Apparently, Pebble has like over 10 clubs interested in him, so I actually think Pebble might actually not feature in pre-season. I actually think he doesn't have a future at Luton by the sounds of it. I think we even turned down a bid for him by MK Dons. I think we didn't want them to buy him. So yeah, I don't see many. I just don't see him featuring in a Luton shirt in this upcoming season, but I could be completely wrong. Club World Cup is another thing ruined by FIFA and money. Still didn't win anything under Southgate, exactly. Missed out on good players with Jay Jones going to Germany. To be fair, yeah, he's a good player, but look at the club he's gone to. Luton can't compete with a Bundesliga club in League One. You just can't. And he also turned down multiple championship clubs to go to Germany. So yeah, look, I don't think we missed out. I don't think we were even in conversation in bringing him, unless we'd done it a lot sooner. Haven't been impressed with Tuchel as England manager so far. I don't really judge him until we get into the actual proper competitions of the Euros and World Cup. There's no point judging him on pre-season friendlies and Nation League games and qualifiers. We're going to qualify. It's pretty much guaranteed. I like to wait until we actually get to the proper competitions. Has there been any more transfer rumours? No, it's been really, really quiet, and hopefully we get some rumours very soon. Former Hatter Josh Neufeld went to Bradford. That's a great signing for them. He's developed quite well. What are my thoughts? Josh, well, he had a lot of interest at AFC Wimbledon. He had a fantastic year with them, won promotion with them. Going to Bradford, good move for him. He's still young. I think he's 24 years old, but I don't think we're the right club. I don't think it. I kind of like question marks whether Luton would go back in for him because he can play as a wing back. But I think we're trying to move away from that wing-back position. I think if we were going to carry it on, we might have been interested in him. But I don't think he's better than Isaiah Jones. So I think we made the correct decision there. Is Thomas Tuchel going to make England win their first major trophy in 60 years in the World Cup next year? I don't see it, to be honest. I can see the League Cup in the next few years, unfortunately, being scrapped. I personally would just let all the league sides not in Europe compete. Then the so-called big clubs can't complain about games. I actually think it's going to be the latter. I think you're right. I think if it carries on the way it does, the big clubs just won't compete in it. I think there's a competition in another country that's, I think, similar to what we're trying to say. I can't remember what country it is, but there is a country out there that the big clubs don't compete in it. They allow the other clubs to compete in it. But yeah, I think it'd be better. I actually think it would be miles better if the big clubs in Europe don't compete in the competition, because then I reckon it'd be a different winner every week. It'd be a different winner every week. It'd be a different winner every season. I can't see it being the same clubs winning it constantly. I think Luton need a striker. If you can have players like Nordas and Morris, but if they don't perform, what's the point in trusting them? I think we still don't know about Nordas, if I'm being honest with you. We don't know his potential and what he can actually do. I think we're still waiting to see what he can do in a Luton shirt. But I do think with Morris, it's probably time to allow him to leave the football club. It is so hot in my room right now. The weather recently it's made it really difficult. Hay fever wise, I've been hit hard, so it's made recording videos difficult for myself. But the heat, like, I'm sweating when trying to make a video. It's really, really tough. I'm trying my best to cool this room down, but it's really, really tough to do so. But I also live in a flat building. So basically, all the heat rises up, and because I'm quite high up, my flat in particular is so hot. So yeah, we get it so badly in all the rooms. The living room's actually the best room to be in, but wow, yeah, the heat is another level. I'm not a fan of like British sun. It's not for me. My favorite like season is like spring and autumn. You know, those are my favorite seasons. Winter, no, too cold. But spring and autumn, more than happy. You know, jumper season. I like jumper season. Not this type of season. Don't mind some sunny days, but wow, it's sometimes it's just too hot and it's sticky. Tom Cleverley is now the Plymouth new manager. I think it's a top appointment, to be honest, by Plymouth. Really, really is a top appointment. I know he's head coach, actually, not manager. That's the official title. But for me, he done a fantastic job at Watford. The fact that Watford didn't get relegated was a miracle, and he done it very, very well. And the fact that they sacked him, well, it's typical Watford, to be honest with you. But what a top appointment! He could easily get. I thought he could have easily have got a job in the Championship. But I think right now, if you say to me what teams are going to be competing at the top end of League One by the end of next year, I reckon it's going to be us, Huddersfield, Bolton, and Plymouth. So us 4 teams. I can't see Cardiff, and I know Cardiff are going to get their new manager very soon, but I just don't see Cardiff being up there. The players they've got, I think their players are rubbish. I don't think they're good. I mean that with no disrespect, but I just don't think their players are any good. Not to brag, but I'm watching this video from my sunbed in Mallorca in 34 degrees. At least, though, the weather you're experiencing is nice, though. It's not sticky like the UK, which is what I hate. Like, overseas weather, fantastic, lovely. But here, no. It's just grim. If you can choose a League 1, League 2 Championship player or Premier League loan for Luton, who would you choose? I want Ethan Galbraith. Get me Ethan Galbraith from Leyton Orient because he would make a massive difference in the Luton team. If Thomas Kaminski is leaving, the fight to be number 1 goalkeeper will be interesting. I think Bolton will get it. I really do. Cardiff will struggle, and I don't think they will get top 6 this year. I can agree with you on that. I think they'll struggle. It all really does depend on their recruitment, but I just don't see them doing anything close to what we're doing. I don't see them returning straight to the Championship. I really don't. I think Plymouth will be up there. I think naturally they will, because they've already made some good signings. But yeah, I don't see Cardiff being near it. Who do I think would be the dark horse in League One? Dark horse. Oh, I need to have a think. I reckon either Port Vale or Bradford. I think the signings which Bradford has started to do already look really good, and with Graham Alexander, someone who's got experience of managing in League One already, I think he can push Bradford to the quite high ups. And then also Port Vale. I think they've just the way they run as a football club. I think those 2 clubs in particular, because of they've got momentum from winning promotion. What's my thoughts? What's my thoughts about Crystal Palace and Newcastle winning their first major trophy in decades? Very, very good. And it's good for the English game for that to happen. You know, we need more clubs. We need more clubs who are not winning cup competitions regularly, starting to win it. Are you looking forward to our local derby with Stevenage this year? Happy to get one over them yet again. I don't really consider Stevenage as a derby for me. They're just a club in Hertfordshire. That's how I look at them. We've got one rivals and one rivals only, which is Watford. I don't see Stevenage as our rivals. I really don't. Of course, because we played each other quite frequently in non-league and also in League Two and League One, there's that little bit of tension between the clubs, and stuff has started to develop. But for me, Stevenage is just not a rival in my eyes. Danny, you've put still unsure how we would do this season. I think we'll do all right, mate. I don't see us having a problem this year. Oh, why do I keep getting pop-ups? Right. What do you think about Brentford losing their manager to Spurs? I think Thomas Frank going to Tottenham is a fantastic appointment. For me, Thomas Frank, I can't believe he hasn't got given a major job. I think it's the first time in a very long time that he's been at Brentford for a very long time, and he should have got one ages ago. If I was Manchester United, like last year, instead of getting Amorim, I would have got Thomas Frank in, because Thomas Frank, the way he goes about himself and what he's done, it's just incredible, and he's so heavily focused on culture and improving the culture, because he believes having the right work culture will just reflect on the pitch. And that's exactly what Brentford have been all about. And that's why Brentford have always punched above their weight every single season. It'd be interesting to see what happens to Brentford. Can they carry it on? But I do think Tottenham, if they can't be successful under Thomas Frank, they've got to look upstairs, because they've gone with young and hungry managers in Pochettino and Nuno. They've gone with experienced managers in Jose Mourinho, Conte, and also Ange wins them a cup competition for the first time in years. Now they've gone to Thomas Frank, who's got proven experience and success in the Premier League. It can't be all these managers that are bad. It has to be someone else. And they have got to look upstairs. They've got to look at their recruitment. They've got to look at all these other factors. But for me, very, very good appointment by Spurs. No one's mentioning Stockport to do well in League One. I keep forgetting them. That's probably why I'm not mentioning Stockport. But yeah, I see them again in the playoffs. So just to recap, the teams that I actually see being in the playoffs by the end of next season will be us, Plymouth, Bolton, Huddersfield, Stockport, and then there's one more. You're looking at potentially Peterborough. You're looking at potentially Reading. And then, I've actually Peterborough, Reading, Bradford and Port Vale. They're my four. I don't see Wickham getting into it. That's what I'm going with right now. Could you imagine if someone signed for Luton in this stream or another stream? You mean someone who's watching signing for Luton? If you wasn't a Luton Town fan, what team would you be supporting? I always thought maybe West Ham, because some members of my family support West Ham. But I think if I was to not support, if Luton was to die today and then I had to think of a club to watch, I'd probably support my local team where I live, which is Newport Pagnell, which is literally a 15-minute drive away from my house. So yeah, it'd probably be Newport Pagnell, the team I support, a non-league team, and just love football. Who will Brentford get for their manager? Rob Edwards? No, Rob Edwards is going to get the Borough job by the looks of it. He's the front runner for it. I heard Brentford are looking at Keith Andrew, their set-piece coach, to be their manager. Yeah, and funny enough, Neil, it's not MK Dons. MK Dons is not my local team. They do not exist, and also I existed before the football club. So it's Newport Pagnell. They are an older football club. They are my local. I live closer to Newport Pagnell than I do to the MK Dons Stadium. So 100% will not be going to that concrete bowl. But yeah, back to Keith Andrews. He got turned down by MK Dons, believe it or not, to be their new manager. mental, and now he's going to be a Premier League manager. It's absolutely crazy. It is crazy. I live near where your mum gets her earrings done. Very, very nice. It will backfire on Brentford as they might be relegated, potentially, but Brentford, I think that they're quite a smart club, to be honest. Very, very smart club. And maybe hiring someone that already knows the football club, already knows the culture and what it's about, might be a smart move rather than getting someone who just doesn't know the football club inside out. So maybe it's actually the right thing, hiring from within. But Thomas Frank is going to take, well, he's already taken majority of his staff over from Brentford. So, yeah, they're pretty much bare bones right now. So they're going to need to get going to need to get the right people through the door quick. Set piece coach for a manager is a recipe for disaster. He's not just a set piece coach. He doesn't just do set pieces. He does do a lot more than that. It's just a title they now just give people. So he isn't just a set piece coach. He does do coaching drills. Like he's a coach still. He just specializes in set pieces. Like every coach will have a specialized area. So there would be people at Luton who specialize in the goal scoring area. There's people who specialise in the defence, in the midfield. Kevin Foley at Luton, he specialises in transitions. So he does all the transitional sessions at Luton. So yeah, every coach has a specialty and some are just specialised in set pieces. When might we know about Luton's kits for this upcoming season? Hopefully it's before the season starts, but knowing Luton, and if we're going off by previous years, we probably won't have the kit ready until November, as that's just typical us, but hopefully they actually communicate this. That'd be nice. When we won the Johnson Paint Trophy at Wembley, why did we go up to collect the cup on the left-hand side and come down on the right? And whenever anyone else does, it's a different way. Robert, I've got no clue. You're going to have to ask someone who knows that information. Got no clue about that. I was 9 when that final was, so I would not know. Rob Edwards wouldn't last long as the Middlesbrough manager in my eyes. He is one-dimensional. I can't believe Middlesbrough are even considering bringing him to the football club. Do you think a good signing would be buying John McAtee as he had an amazing season in League One with Bolton? Same question with Joe Taylor at Huddersfield. Well, we won't be going back in for McAtee. I can pretty much be sure with that. And Joe Taylor's been at Huddersfield for 6 months, so I can't see us even considering Joe Taylor. I am randomly looking forward to the first round of the FA Cup and drawing a non-league side. The first round of the FA Cup is actually going to be my birthday weekend. So I wanted to know who we're actually going to be playing against, but I won't find out until nearer the time because I wanted to go away for the weekend and wherever who Luton are playing against. But we could end up playing like some really bad, non-league team in the middle of nowhere. George, you've put, hi Lewis, hope you're well. Would you take Santos centre-back free agent now? Are you talking about the ex-Bolton defender? Because if you are, he's signed for Swansea, so he's not a free agent anymore. When are we going to shift out the higher earners, Lewis? Hopefully very, very soon. Yeah, just hopefully very, very soon. Get rid of these players as quick as possible. Hopefully we do it next week. I really hope we do. I reckon we are going to announce more stuff next week. I think start of Monday. Hopefully by the time I'm doing my next live stream, which will be next week, next Sunday, we'll have a lot more to talk about. And then, hopefully, And then soon, pre-season starts, and then we'll start playing games, and then I can start talking about the pre-season. Also, the fixtures get announced soon. I think that gets announced on the 26th of June, which is a Thursday. So what I can actually do is, I might actually be changing my live stream, actually, because the last weekend of June, I'm not going to be available on Sunday. I might be available in the evening, but I won't be available in the morning. So I'm thinking about doing my, doing a live stream Sunday evening. Hi Lewis, do you think Asgard stays? If so, do you think we should pay him high wages? We're not going to offer him another contract, as he's just recently signed one. Do I think he stays? Hopefully he uses his common sense and actually does stay, because the Norway manager wants him to leave, which I find just stupid. But yeah, hopefully he does stay, because he would tear League One apart. Do you think Doughty and Menji could still play in the Prem or play at top-end Championship side? Yeah. Both Championship quality at least. Doughty, I think, can play in the Premier League, as he's proven he can. So yeah, I think they can do quite easily. I think a lot of our players can play Championship, but they just didn't prove that they could last year. They just had a bad season. This season is hopefully the big kick up the backside, and massive reset is what is needed. Yes, I do agree. Who will be the best player next season? Ali will be the best player next season. We will be talking about Ali so much next year when he's tearing it apart, scoring so many goals. He's going to be the one next year, Ali, for me. Tena Menji attitude stinks. We've had rotten apples in the squad. We need those players to go. I also agree with that. We do need certain players to leave the football club. And once they leave the football club, happy days, and we can celebrate and focus on the players that do want to be here and help improve us. Right, guys, actually, I'm kind of thinking right now might be the perfect time to end the live stream. So any more final questions or thoughts, let me know down in the chat. We'll do a couple more questions, and then I will end the live stream. The hour has gone quite quickly. And yeah, what do I have to do today? I'm going to the gym. I'm going to see my dad and give him his Father's Day present. I'm also watching Soccer Aid. I got to get a YouTube video out as well. I am planning on a transfer video. I need to get that out. I said in the last couple of live streams that I will upload a video on the Sunday, and I keep failing to do so, but I need to do it today. Saville and Fanny in the 4-2-3-1 in CDM together is a great duo. That's if Fanny wants to stay at the football club, but I don't see them two starting together, as they're both roughly the same type of player. Neil, you've put the transfer window opens tomorrow, doesn't it? So I can definitely see movement next week. Neil, we could have signed players right now if we wanted to. So yeah, we could have signed. Yeah, well, I've lost my train of thought. We could have signed players today. Wickham have signed 2 players in the last 48 hours. The window opening and closing, it just means you can't finalise players until a certain date, but it's all good. Like, you can still sign players. It's just the wording of the window is just stupid, but you can sign players. And it's not only free agents. You can still sign players. You just can't finalise the deal until the window reopens. So you can buy players and put fees in. You just can't finalise the actual transfer until the date when it reopens again. But you can negotiate. What games are you looking forward to next season, and what were your favourite games from this season, even though we were terrible? I've already made a video on the games I'm keen to watch for next year. So go and check that video. Go and check that video out, and you know what games I am looking forward to for next year. in terms of what we witnessed over the last 12 months, I'm going to say Derby away, that was a good one. Coventry at home, and also Watford at home. Thank you, Robert, for tuning into the live stream. All the best. Neil, only free agents in the first window. Yeah, I think you can announce free agents, but you can also announce the permanent deals as well. It's just worded stupidly. And you basically can't officially have the transfer window open for a certain amount of days. So they have to open it, close it, and then reopen it again. So it doesn't break the league rules, which is a certain amount of days for the window. But you can still confirm transfers and you can still confirm transfers. So Luton can announce these transfers, but you just can't finalise it until the window reopens again. So, for example, if the window reopens tomorrow and we sign Ronaldo today, I'm just giving you an example. If Luton sign Ronaldo today, we can't finalise that contract until tomorrow when the window reopens. But what we can do is we can announce it that we have signed Ronaldo today. It's just such a stupid thing. They've had to reopen it and close it due to this Club World Cup stuff that's happening for the bigger clubs. Again, another thing to benefit the bigger clubs. It's just stupid. It really is. Final question for you, Lewis. What do you think Luton would do this year? Promotion, stay down, or worse? I think top 6. That's what I think. Hopefully it's promotion. I really hope it's promotion. But I reckon top 6 right now. But yeah, I think that's the perfect way to end the live stream, guys. Thank you for everyone who's watched this live stream today. Please smash the like button on the live stream. It does help the video perform better. I will try my best to give you a video by the end of today. Fingers crossed I can get it done. But if the heat really impacts me too much, I might not do. But yeah, I do want to get a video out for you guys today. If not, it will be tomorrow. Thank you for giving me your time over this last hour. It has been greatly appreciated. But yeah, that is the end of the live stream. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good Sunday.